DeepSeek's AI models are about to cost 4 times more. Apple sent warnings to targets of mercenary spyware attacks. And the U.S. government will allow private companies to carry out cyberattacks on its behalf. It's Friday, August 14th. And here's a quick look at some of the news happening in the sphere of tech this morning from Engadget. DeepSeek made its name offering far cheaper AI services than its pricier Western competitors, but the cheap ride appears to be at an end. The company has started telling customers to prepare for significant price rises with the advent of its latest model. With the announcement of DeepSeek V4 Pro, the company is raising its API pricing fourfold. The company said it's adopting a new peak and off-peak pricing to allocate resources more reasonably. Starting on August 16th, the DeepSeek V4 Pro model will cost $3.96 for 1 million output tokens at peak hours, more than 4 times the current rate of 87 cents. It will cost you half that amount, $1.98, during off-peak hours. Meanwhile, the DeepSeek V4 Flash model will set you back $1.32 for 1 million output tokens from 28 cents during peak hours and 66 cents during off-peak. Now, to be fair, the current API pricing was supposed to be just a promotion ending on May 31st. DeepSeek announced that month that it was going to make the discounted prices permanent, but it ultimately decided to proceed with the price hikes. Even though DeepSeek will soon cost 4 times more, its V4 models are still a lot more affordable than many of its competitors. Kimi K3, a model by Chinese company Moonshot, costs $15 per 1 million output tokens. OpenAI's most advanced model, GPT 5.6 Sol, costs $30 for 1 million output tokens. However, its low-cost offering, GPT 5.6 Luna, cost $1.20, less than the DeepSeek V4 Flash at peak hours. Apple periodically notifies users if its system has detected that they were targeted by a mercenary spyware attack. Well, as John Scott Railton, a senior researcher at University of Toronto's Digital Threat Research Center Citizen Lab, reported, it just sent out a fresh round of warnings. He wrote, "That means tech like Pegasus used by governments to spy on you." The iPhone maker told TechCrunch that it has updated its user experience related to the warning and made it easier to access information. Its notification window tells the recipient that there are actions that they can take now to help protect their data and device. Apple has also published a new support page that details what mercenary spyware is and what someone can do if they had been targeted. As Apple explained, mercenary spyware are sophisticated surveillance tools that companies typically sell to state actors or governments. They're then used to target certain individuals, like journalists, activists, politicians, and diplomats. Mercenary spyware attacks cost millions of dollars and are highly targeted. Most users will never be targeted by mercenary spyware, but they are also difficult to detect and prevent. Apple admitted that its investigations can never achieve absolute certainty, but its notifications are high-confidence alerts that a user has been individually targeted by a mercenary spyware attack and should be taken very seriously. The company said it cannot divulge how it determines who's under attack because bad actors might use that information to evade detection in the future. Just because someone received the notification doesn't mean their data has already been compromised, but it does mean that Apple detected activity on their device consistent with a mercenary spyware attack. Now, Apple advises recipients to enable lockdown mode to switch on extreme protection for their device. It blocks most message attachments, FaceTime calls, invitations for Apple services, and shared photo albums. The company also advises enlisting expert help, specifically mentioning the Digital Security Helpline Rapid Response Emergency Assistance offered by the nonprofit Access Now. President Trump has signed a new national security presidential memorandum that allows private companies to conduct cyber attacks on transnational criminal organizations on behalf of the federal government. The Trump administration says the decision will leverage the capability and innovation of the private sector to respond to things like ransomware attacks, sextortion, financial fraud, and phishing. Traditionally, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, one of the main laws that criminalizes hacking, unauthorized computer access, and other cyber attacks, has applied to private companies and individuals alike. Back in 2022, the Department of Justice announced that it would no longer prosecute white hat hackers who conduct hacks for security research, but this presidential memorandum vastly expands the kinds of cyber activity the DOJ could decline to prosecute. The details of how all of this will work are still undefined. The memorandum directs the Homeland Security Task Force to develop standards for how companies will be vetted if they want to join and procedures for how attacks will be carried out, with the details of both expected in the next 60 days. Participating companies are also required to pay $1 million bond that will be forfeited if they don't comply with the government's direction. While it offers an incentive to follow the government's orders and protection from U.S. prosecution, the memorandum does not explain what will happen if companies or individual employees are criminally charged in the foreign countries that house the computers they're attacking. The memorandum was signed in the aftermath of a wave of cyber attacks on water facilities in Minnesota and Michigan that are now linked to Iran. The U.S. has itself charged foreign hackers on more than one occasion. It's not hard to imagine that U.S.-directed attacks could be met with a similar legal response. Thanks for listening. There's a lot more tech news at Engadget.com. This episode featured journalism from Mariella Moon and Ian Carlos Campbell. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back on Monday with more tech news from Engadget.